Hey everybody, I wanted to talk a minute this morning about indoor air quality sensors and what I think the benefits are regarding specifically virus mitigation potential in the current pandemic situation. But I think even beyond that, there's a lot of value to knowing the quality of the air that we're breathing in our buildings. And I've been a proponent of continuous air quality monitoring for a while now, and really I think we're seeing this effort ramping up in the wake of the pandemic. So I wanted to give just a little show and tell here. The device I have on my desk, which is the Awair Omni. There's several other devices on the market that we are looking into and testing here in the building. I also have the Arbnco Well kit that was going to integrate with our ARC dashboard for ongoing LEED certification, so that's really exciting too. But I really appreciate the data that we get from these devices because they're real-time monitoring, and generally all the commercial IAQ sensors on the market now operate similarly. There's some variances between the manufacturers. Generally, they're independent of the building automation system, which is good. There are APIs and integrations that you can get into, but I think that there's some value to independent operation and separate systems in that regard. Then they're all also generally there's additional sensors and parameters you can monitor with some of them. Generally monitoring 5 parameters for indoor air quality. So temperature, humidity, CO2, carbon dioxide, total VOCs, and particulate matter, usually PM 2.5. So that's 2.5 microns and smaller. And when we're thinking about virus mitigation strategies, the temperature and the humidity are closely correlated to the viability of viruses being able to live in a space on surfaces, and also in the airstream, whether or not the particles and viruses can be entrained, and droplets and how they settle out of the air is really related to that humidity number. Then CO2 is really a proxy for how good our ventilation is in the space. Ventilation and proper code minimum ventilation, especially in existing buildings, is kind of the first line of defense against poor indoor air quality. So the CO2 level that you're monitoring with these sensors is giving you a good indication of how your outside air or your ventilation systems are performing. And then VOCs, these sensors are monitoring total VOCs, so TVOC, and I think it can be really interesting if you're paying attention to the things that it'll pick up on, because one, not all VOCs are necessarily bad, and two, I think VOCs can be in almost anything, even things that are imperceptible in terms of smell. So some attention needs to be paid in terms of VOC levels to know what could be causing it. And if you're seeing heightened levels on an ongoing basis, then some probably component or more specific VOC testing would be needed in that case, which would be a laboratory-based test. And then particulate matter, PM 2.5, is something that everybody's paying a lot more attention to now specifically. Because we're thinking about particles and viruses and sizes and things floating around in the air, and this ongoing possibility of aerosol transmission. So the particulate matter value is giving us a good indication on how well our filtration is working, if you have additional air cleaning devices in the space, and or if there's potentially other particulate causing activities going on in the building. And PM 2.5 is really down to a level that it's certainly inhalable still, but it's imperceptible oftentimes in terms of air quality. So you would not notice if you had elevated PM 2.5 in your space without the use of these sensors. So for those 5 parameters are really what we're looking at with these IAQ monitors. I personally like the Awair devices. Right now I'm liking them because they give you a nice translation. If you don't have somebody continuously monitoring the data, then what value is it? So even for maybe more the layperson or the non-industry professional in terms of indoor air quality, you can kind of give it a quick look and it'll indicate a total score from 0 to 100. So 80 to 100 is the best range, and they'll color code the indicator lights. And like I said, other devices have similar features. So they're really trying to bring these to more of a consumer grade application, so you can get them for your house too, which of course I have. And yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say today. So keep monitoring that indoor air quality, and we'll talk more about this. Thanks.